For my final project, I chose to analyze the social media site Pinterest. Pinterest is a social media website and mobile app that allows users to collect, share, and store visual information about things that interest them. Created as a visual bookmarking site in March 2010, people can pin or share and like anything from recipes to wedding ideas to art inspiration and have them organized onto boards to return to later. Pins can link to other websites for more information about a certain pin. While the company only had 10,000 users in their first 9 months, it currently has more than 70 million unique users worldwide. This is their mission statement. First, I'll examine generation like. This is a screenshot of the person who has the most followers on Pinterest, Jane Wang. She has 8 million followers. In theory, Pinterest is the perfect platform to target markets because the entire point of Pinterest is to pin and like things that cater to pinners' interests. Pinterest has actually revised its policy statement to cover paid pins. They are not allowed. Businesses and brands cannot pay popular pinners to pin things for profit. Businesses themselves can pin things for profit through the Pinterest platform. Pinners are marketers no matter how many followers they have because pins link to products and products that are pinned are disseminated through other people who will also share and look into the products. Pinners spend almost $100 more on average than those who use Facebook, so people are making money because of Pinterest. Next, I'll explore It's Complicated. A discussion by Dana Boyd. Anyone under age 13 is prohibited from Pinterest, so theoretically a younger audience can't access the site, although that is unlikely true. Pinterest is a place for self-expression, so teenagers can definitely benefit from using it. They pin things that are interesting to them specifically, and also maybe things their friends will like. It is an opportunity to express themselves with fewer limitations than other social media networks. It is a relatively safe social media platform for teenagers, but there is no way to really make yourself private on Pinterest. Musicians have been using social media more often now. And social media is crucial for musicians to use, as Nancy Bame discusses in her lecture. Musicians are starting to use Pinterest to interact with fans. Keith Urban, Lady Antebellum, and other musicians and bands have started pinning. They will pin things their fans will be interested in, like their favorite guitars, lyrics to their songs, set lists, and other relevant information that fans will repin to their pages. Pinterest can also be used to promote their videos. Pinterest is kind of like a scrapbook for band activity for musicians, so it could be a really useful tool for musicians. For journalism after Snowden, something investigated by Columbia School of Journalism 2014, people aren't particularly concerned about Pinterest's role in whistleblowing and other privacy things. Pinterest isn't really an anonymous platform, although it can be done sort of through using a fake Pinterest. Someone I know's dad has a Pinterest under a female pseudonym. There is a new messaging platform that people might not know exists, so people can contact each other through that if they wish. Tor could be really useful for that potentially, but Pinterest isn't really used for sharing top secret information or things where anonymity can be beneficial. As for big data, Pinterest is really collecting a lot of data. These are some of the important clips of Pinterest terms of agreement regarding data. Pinterest uses data from users' pins to post recommended pins in their feeds. They collect log data and cookie data from users, and they have access to data stored in any social media account linked to Pinterest. So they have access to even more information they wouldn't normally have. As for instance, my account on Pinterest is linked to my Facebook account, so they have all the info from my Facebook account as well. You can get data from cell phone users by accessing Pinterest from the cell phone. And Pinterest can be an extremely revealing platform because each person's page is highly individualized to each user's tastes. So big data is really revealing when it comes to Pinterest. As for blogging, Pinterest itself isn't a blogging platform, but it can be really useful for people who blog because people who blog can also pin what they're blogging. This is a screenshot from my friend's blog, and as you can see, there is a Pinterest widget in the corner. Pinterest itself isn't a blogging platform, but it's useful for bloggers to promote themselves. My friend photographs recipes and posts them on Pinterest to gain more followers on Pinterest and her blog. It can aid in bringing in branding and promote money making for bloggers. Pinners also help bloggers out by sharing things that they like on their own Pinterest. Likes and repins help bloggers gain more followers and a larger viewership, which they can lead to money making. Blogs represented on Pinterest are more personal interest blogs than political blogs. Bloggers can link their Pinterest from their blogs with a widget or link. And Pinterest itself has made no money, but it is worth $3.8 billion, and they are looking into promoted pins, but I personally have never seen them. Pinterest can be extremely revealing about personal identity, something Judith Donath talks about in The Social Machine. This is a screenshot of my Pinterest and all the boards that I have currently. Pinterest develops a pretty accurate personal portrait of users. This site is based on the expression of people's personal interests, so it builds an extremely specific personal identity. This could be potentially too revealing. It is unique to other social media because instead of focusing on social aspects, it focuses more on personal interests. People don't really pay attention to other people's Pinterest as much as they pay to their own. Pinterest now has a messaging platform to interact with other pinners and friends through sharing boards, pins, and ideas. As for networks, there are unique networks built up by followers on Pinterest. Users follow friends, but also follow strangers that share similar interests. There are Pinterest meetups where users can meet up to share ideas, some of which are created by Pinterest Creative in big cities, or hubs as Bacon would call them, like Austin, Texas. You can network with other creative individuals and people you may follow. Pinterest suggests other users you can connect with in and out of your current circles, and as you saw earlier, there's over 70 million unique users, creating a huge network of people that you could follow. With computational social science, it's more about virality in this case. This is how pins go viral on Pinterest based on what their category is. Pinterest can potentially aid in things that go viral because pins can be shared, reshared, and transformed. It aids in the spreading of information in general. Trends are in a way viral on Pinterest because certain fashion or lifestyle trends happen at different times, and they can become obvious by what is being pinned at certain times. It could be a potential research tool for social scientists who want to investigate trends. It's also incredibly important to recognize the network individualism that comes from Pinterest. This is a screenshot of my page. Pinterest is the epitome of a personalized internet because it focuses primarily on the person's main interests. It is more about the individual than the people they interact with, but users are still part of a community. Basically, people are just individuals sharing things that they are most interested in themselves. So it's a highly personal, individualized environment. With the medium as a message, McLuhan and Morozov discuss basically how the medium is more of the message than the message itself. Pinterest probably won't be causing any or organizing revolutions anytime soon, but it has the potential to spread a message through images and links to blogs. That is not often the primary use of Pinterest. It can be useful to start a conversation about social issues, but it definitely is not the most effective way to do this. As for memes, that's something that is really prevalent on Pinterest. This is a meme about Pinterest. Meme can be searched on Pinterest and a number of things will come up. People have entire boards dedicated to memes they find interesting, and Pinterest can contribute to the spread of memes because of the ability to repin by other users. People can make and post their own memes on Pinterest, and there are also memes about Pinterest itself, which brings the category full circle. There is one really relevant Pew report discussed that Pinterest can be categorized under. The Duggan report on the photo and video sharing growth online. Creators and curators are those who upload original content and those who share images that aren't their own, respectively. Social media sites contributing to both. Pinterest especially is the curator because people rarely share their own images there, and they most likely are going to share images that they find relevant to their life, like clothes and art. For WeWire, Zuckerman talks about the reconstruction of media and with journalism, which is not incredibly relevant to Pinterest, but Pinterest could aid in focus reporting. People in certain areas could share certain things. Pinterest itself is kind of an example of this phenomenon because people in different cities and different locations may be interested in posting things completely different than what people are posting elsewhere. There are 3 book reports that are relevant to Pinterest, and these are grouped by Paul Adams because it discusses brand messages spread through social media, which is kind of the point of Pinterest to some extent. Pinterest popularity and sharing helps grow brands. It also discusses how our small networks influence one another, and Pinterest is a visual example of this. The Medium is a massage by McLuhan and Fiore. Pinterest spreads messages visually, which is an example of how this is more important than the message itself. And finally, Everything is Obvious, How Common Sense Fails Us by Duncan Watts is an example of how Pinterest can influence common sense by presenting solutions to problems like home remedies or do-it-yourself tricks. And people might think that these solutions are obvious once they have recognized them through their Pinterest and may not even think about why these things work. As for data visualization, or data journalism, this is actually a data visualization of things that happen on Pinterest itself, like most common pins. And it's from Google Trends. But Pinterest could promote data-driven journalism because it is more interesting to share than traditional journalism. And Pinterest is a primarily visual site, and data journalism is a visual thing, so it could be really useful for spreading data journalism. On the other hand, Pinterest is not known for its involvement in news sharing. Henry Copeland talks about filtering for only the good stuff on the internet, and because Pinterest is a kind of bookmarking site, it actually is kind of filtered based on personal interests. You can make Pinterest what you want, as different people have entirely different boards. The idea of pull quote, as he talks about, is to only pull important and interesting quotes, which could be expanded to pull relevant content in other areas like Pinterest. Finally, Wikipedia was our last discussion with Louis Villa, and Wikipedia is edited by the people for the people, and Pinterest could potentially have this capability with public boards. I've been invited to share on public boards, and basically anyone invited to share on these boards can post whatever content they want that's relevant to the topic. So for instance, if you're invited to share on a fashion board, you're expected to share fashion items, like fashion images. People are invited to contribute and share on certain public boards, but other than that vague comparison, there isn't really a relation between Wikipedia and Pinterest. Pinterest does have an extensive Wikipedia page, though, that explains its entire history. And that is my presentation on Pinterest.